let's move to those talks, the Iranian talks, because Iran's foreign minister says his government has agreed a set of guiding principles with the US after a new round of talks on Tehran's nuclear program. The indirect negotiations in Geneva have now wrapped up. We haven't yet heard from the American side, but President Trump has previously threatened military action against Iran over the country's nuclear activities and following its deadly crackdown on anti-government protests. Well, speaking in the last hour, Iran's foreign minister described today's talks as constructive, but urged the US to step back from its threats of force.
Mr. President, the United States and some European states persist in the imposition of unlawful sanctions, military threats, the engagement in force posturing, and the issuance of explicit references to the possible use of force by the United States, including significant military deployments in the region.
Well, our BBC Persian correspondent, Kasra Naji, is there in Geneva. He says Iranian officials believe there will be another round of talks as the threat of war continues to loom.
We're in Geneva, outside the building where the direct talks between Iran and the US were held earlier today. The talks have now ended and the Iranian side has commented on it. We have the Iranian Foreign Minister sounding positive, saying that the whole atmosphere was more positive this time and that the two sides are negotiating and the direction is a good direction. But he also adds that the differences are such that bringing them together takes a lot of work. So it seems that at least the Iranian side thinks that there's going to be another round of talks between Iran and the US, although Iranian Foreign Minister says there's no, they haven't fixed when the next round of talks is going to be held or where indeed. But nevertheless, it seems that we are one step away from an eventual war, if you might sort of call it, because the Americans are bringing in more military hardware. Another huge aircraft carrier is on its way here. These talks were held under that massive sort of threat of military intervention. The Iranian side is aware of that, is very keen to say that they're going to talk about Iran's nuclear issue, but the Iranian Foreign Minister said what is not on the table is surrender.
Kasra Naji there in Geneva. Let's speak live to Mahmoud Amari Moghadam, who's the director of the Iran Human Rights, an organisation with members inside and outside of Iran. They are based in Norway. Thank you for joining us here again on the programme. As the Americans talk about nuclear and perhaps the missile issues, what are you hearing about what is actually happening inside Iran after those mass protests and the crackdown?
Thank you for having me. Yes, so you see, we have put behind us one of the biggest mass killing of protesters in our time. And we are concerned that these mass killing might continue inside the prisons. We are hearing about many people being sentenced to death after short trials, and all the evidence indicates that the regime is going to continue these death sentences, and we might expect executions in the coming days, because what they want to do is to, the regime is fighting for its survival, and the only instrument they have in order to hold on to power is to create more fear and to traumatize the people so that they don't stand up again. So I think that under these circumstances, any negotiations, any dialogue with the Islamic Republic must be about holding accountable those responsible for these mass killings and saving those who are detained now.
Only last night I was seeing one report talking about pockets of new protests. Are you hearing anything like that?
Yeah, because it's now 40 days past the mass killing, and in Iran, people have ceremonies after 40 days. So we have heard in different parts of Iran ceremonies. The authorities have closed some of the cemeteries, trying to, not to allow people to gather. But we have heard about people chanting against Khamenei and holding these ceremonies.
A final question then, and you've touched on it, but I was also reading reports that the courts are sentencing people in batches, quite often with the death sentence. They are playing confessions on television. Are we simply seeing a regime that was so threatened now trying to just terrify the population into submission?
Absolutely, because that's the only way they can survive. In the Women Life Freedom Movement, more than 3 years ago, it was a bloody crackdown. 551 people were killed, but then people came out again 3 years later, even more, even stronger, even better organized, and the regime cannot afford another round of the protests. So that's why, they have been killing thousands, some according to some evidence, more than 40,000 people, and they can't stop now. So there are like more than 50,000 detained protesters. Death penalty is their main instrument of creating fear, and they want to traumatize this generation so that at least for the years to come, people won't go out again, because the Islamic Republic doesn't have anything else to offer to Iranian people. They can't solve their daily problems. And with these negotiations, they want to try to buy some time, lift sanctions, maybe try to improve the economy through that, and
Yes.
at the same time continue their suppression.
Well, we wait to see what the Americans' view of this round of talks has been. But thank you for giving us that update about what you're hearing on the ground. Thanks so much for your time.